what you do if you feel level of shame, and a lot of it is parenting. That's just
Hmm.
parenting that instilled in you. There's something wrong with you. Okay, you make a mistake. All children make mistakes, and as parents, we need to correct their behavior and say, "I love you dearly. You're a beautiful person who made this mistake. Let's see if we can fix it," right? That's what you want to give your children. But when you say, "What's wrong with you? You must be stupid," people calling you names and putting you down, you have so much shame attached to that, that when you're an adult, you can't have relationships with anybody because you're making mistakes and you're not accountable to it. And some people
Mm.
call it narcissism and narcissist. It is a narcissistic trait, but I refuse. I don't want to put it in those words because that's a clinical word. All of us, we shouldn't be using that on a daily basis. But
Hmm.
it's just not being able to say, I did behaved in this way, and I need to make it right.
Okay, so put that in the context of money and money demons. Like, so
Yeah.
so are you saying that my shame of mistakes I made for which I should feel guilty, that internalizing that shame can create a demon that might affect my choices going forward? That because I'm ashamed that I kept a bad credit score, I see myself as financially irresponsible, and because maybe I don't want to deal with the shame, maybe I avoid certain things, like, because it almost sounds to me like you're saying the shame isn't required. Maybe guilt is okay, but shame is not required, because shame is almost like that internalization of guilt to say something's wrong with me, as opposed to
Mm-hmm.
something's wrong with what I did. And when
Mm-hmm.
you carry that shame, that becomes the demon that possesses you, that then causes you to engage in avoidant behavior because you don't want to confront the shame, or you don't want to confront the bad feelings that may come with that
Yeah,
shame. Is that
because
is
you
that kind of
feel
what you're
so
saying?
ashamed, you fall apart every time you make a mistake. No one expects you to be perfect, but you put that on
Mm,
yourself, this level of perfection that you have on yourself because you're too ashamed. You're too ashamed, and you make a catastrophe just because you had a bad month or something. It's not a catastrophe. Things ebb and flow all the time. That's a universal law, right? The Hermetic principles. You also study Hermetic principles. It's a law. What goes up is going to go down, and you have to be able to figure out how to ride the waves without internalizing it and thinking there's something wrong with you.
mm-hmm. Now that's I think I get that concept. I know that
Mhm.
professionally, kind of dealing with something that it feels like shame is what allowed me to really do what I do. Like I remember when I would go on TV and do stuff, you're always so scared in the beginning that you're gonna make a mistake or say something stupid or get
Mhm.
something wrong. And I remember just kind of saying, just because I get something wrong doesn't mean I'm not qualified.
That's right.
Just because I make a mistake doesn't mean I don't know what I'm doing. Everybody makes mistakes, and
Mhm.
nobody's any better than me. Other people make mistakes, and they don't. It's not the end of their careers. They don't walk away in shame and give up. You just keep coming back, right? So that to me is really, I almost feel like what you're saying about guilt and shame is also connected to self love. Like in my view, this was literally my processing. And again, I'm not a therapist, but I think that we are our own best therapist. So what gave me a lot of confidence, not fake confidence. I don't have to pretend to be confident. I really am confident in what I do and what I know. What gave me confidence was not this false belief that I'm perfect. What gave me confidence was having enough self-love to forgive myself when my imperfections show up.
Uh-huh.
When my flaws pop out and I do something stupid and I say, "Oh man, dang, I really messed that up." It's all right. We're gonna go right back at it because I
Mhm.
love Boyce, and if you love something, you'll never give up on that thing. You'll
Yeah,
never
and
give
you
up on that
and,
person.
um, and you apologize. You're good at apologizing too, voice. You can say, "Oh gosh, I'm so sorry. How can we make this right? How can we
Yeah.
make this right? And let's just move on." That is beautiful. Nothing's worse than when somebody does something and they go into this place of shame and they never apologize. They say, "Well, I wouldn't have done it if you hadn't have done that. I wouldn't have done it if you hadn't done that. I wouldn't have done it. It wasn't just on me. If you hadn't done this," where you start to just in your mind, because the shame is so painful for you, because
Mm.
it's of course reminiscent of how you were treated when you were younger, and you start seeing that person as a parent, and you start saying, "No, no, I wouldn't," and you feel like you need to defend yourself instead of just saying, "Yes, it was a mistake. I did it wrong. I feel sorry. Let's move on." And
I do agree,
that's the
but
beauty
I'm
of
gonna
it.
tell you what one area where Where I'm going to challenge that a little bit is sometimes I feel like I need to defend myself. You know, there's like if someone comes up to, and I get it, I hear what you're saying. I want to hear your perspective on this, but if somebody comes up and says you stole my purse and I didn't steal your purse, my first reaction is going to be like, no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you think I stole your purse, but I didn't do it. Right.
No, well,
And
what you
so,
say, yeah.
go ahead. I want to hear your perspective on, but that's, I think defending yourself is okay too in some situations. Like, I don't think being defenseless works, right? What do you think?
No, I mean, you ask them the question. You say, okay, wait, you think I stole your purse? The best thing,
Mm,
it's a reaction to be defensive. All of us get defensive, but you have to stop yourself and you have to say, okay, what information do you have that makes you think I stole your purse?
mhm,
What information did you gather to make you conclude that I stole your purse, and hear that person out?
mm,
Because that is where a lot of problems can really be dissolved between individuals, is the other person doesn't feel like they've heard the other person out. So you hear the person out and you say, wait, you saw me on video, show me the video. And then you look at the video, you'd be like, what day? I wasn't here on that day. I wasn't
mhm,
in the parking lot. Maybe it's a video of the park, you hit my car. Okay, well, oh, there was cameras out there. Show me the camera of me hitting your car, because I really want to hear how you came to this conclusion. Do that instead of defensive, because it's
mm,
these beautiful conversations that are never had between individuals, and they just start fighting each other, and it escalates. It doesn't have to. And
mm.
in the
Okay.
moment where you really feel defensive, that's a signal to yourself to stop and say, how did you come to that? What information did you gather? Because it could be that that person really did see a video of you stealing their purse. And then you can clearly say, yes, I totally understand why you thought it was me. But guess what? I wasn't even there. That was somebody else that look like me. Let me show you. I totally let's work together and find out. I don't know. You don't have to work together with somebody to find out who stole their purse, but you can definitely give them some empathy.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and it's funny. It reminds me when Oprah said a long time ago, where she said everybody just wants to be heard.
Yeah.
And I think that that was a really wise thing for her to say. And so I think that really that all these emotions you mentioned, guilt and shame and everything else, sometimes can make us dismissive of other people, and that doesn't work. And then sort of circling that back around to the financial stuff, um, in terms of money demons, I really think that being able to have a healthy way to process those feelings that we may have, the guilt and the shame of bad financial choices and
Yeah.
just the outcomes, I think that goes a long way in being your best self and being able
Fix
to,
it.
yeah, being able to, right. So either you can fix the past or maybe you can't fix the past. But either way, I think self-love love is powerful. Love goes a long way. And I think, and I would encourage you to love yourself enough to say, God is not through with me yet. I ain't perfect. And y'all have heard me say that. Y'all have heard me say, look, hey, just chalk it up to my imperfections. Because I know I'm good at what I do, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud that I worked so hard to become good at this. But at the same time, that self love is huge in that, because you never become perfect at anything. And so don't give up on yourself. So don't give up on yourself because you got a bad credit score. Don't give up on yourself because the student loans have buried you. Don't or you feel like they buried you. Don't give up on yourself because you don't know everything you need to know. Keep pouring into yourself. You are the best investment you will ever make. And then one of the other best investments you'll ever make is the people that you love and the people you care about. So you pour into them with knowledge and preparation and information and everything else. And then eventually that turns into resources. It turns into action. And that's how you succeed financially. That's how you get rid of those money demons, and you start operating on a higher frequency. And that's what economic awareness is all about. Economic awareness